Have you seen the movie Limitless? When he takes that pill, that's what it's like. Let's go, come on. I said to my wife, no one even care if I kill myself. That's a big thing to say. The way that I feel is euphoric. If you thought I talked fast before, like I'm about to double down on the speed. I don't give a fuck about the research. I only give a shit about how it makes me feel. That's it. That's all I'm bothered about, is how it makes me feel. And yeah, I suppose I couldn't recommend it more, to be fair, like, because of how simple it is. It's not hard. I mean, it's hard. It is hard. But it's simple. It takes 2 minutes. So my name is Paul Mort. I am 2 times UK Master Coach of the Year, a best-selling author, a host of a podcast, and I work with married businessmen all over the world who want to upgrade their business to the next level without giving up more time and losing their shit. I'm going to come back to this, but that thing that's happened is actually, for guys like us, is not abnormal. Part of it is you think that it's wrong, but actually for guys like us who are in charge of everything, that amount of time off is a bit weird.
Yeah, but you like...
And you love work? Yeah. What if you framed it like that? This happened not because I hate work, not because I hate being on holiday, but actually I'm here and I'm not solving problems. And when part of your identity is solving problems and you're not doing it anymore, your mind will fucking invent them. So there's a bit of business coaching, but what I say to the guys is you will never outperform the way that you feel. So your business will only go to the level that your mindset will go. So yeah, it's mainly performance, energy stuff, relationship stuff, happiness essentially, like. So you think, well, I know that number, I think I want this number, but actually I'm not willing to do all of that to get this.
What made you get into coaching? How did you get into coaching?
Well, my coach hates it when I say this, but I stumbled into it. So in 2014, I'd built a successful supplement business, and I kind of didn't know how to deal with the success. So I moved to Marbella, and I proceeded to have essentially a 2-year lad's holiday with my family there. So I drank a lot, I took way too many drugs, and I ended up suicidal. So I came back home, I'd been diagnosed bipolar, and there was a big wake-up call for me. In fact, I said 8 words that I never thought I'd say. Right? It seems weird saying it now. I said to my wife, no one even care if I kill myself. That's a big thing to say. And it could have turned out very different, but she said some words back to me which were, well, think of the kids. And honestly, mate, when you're like that, when you're that low, there's no logic, it's pure emotion. You can't see beyond where you're feeling right now. And I actually thought they'd be better off without me. And then she said something, and I've said this all over the world, I've spoken about this all over the world on stages. She said to me, well, think about the kids growing up as those kids whose dad killed himself. And that was like, oof, that was like the kick in the dick, the twist of the dick that I needed to get me shit together. That put a big fire in my belly. And that was kind of my first step into getting my shit together. And then, mate, honestly, because I built a successful business, even though I was all over the place, I was 5 stone overweight, I was riddled with anxiety, I was still drinking all the time, I was on lithium, which is like the gold standard bipolar medication, which actually makes you feel like shit. However, I started to see the benefit that I had was that I had money that I could invest in trying different things. So I went to retreats, I hired coaches, I traveled all over the place. And I suppose I found out what did work for me, what didn't work. And then essentially I changed my own life. And then other people started asking me how I do it. And I told them, and they were like, well, will you help me? Ooh, naughty. So I got into cold water immersion and cold water therapy, not for the reasons most people do. In 2016, I flew to upstate New York, a place called Syracuse, for a wedding. And the first flight was to Chicago. Halfway through that flight, I had a complete meltdown. Like, I had a panic attack and had to get sedated, right? And then I've got the problem, I've landed in Chicago and I'm buzzing because I'm like, oh, I'm off the flight now. But then I'm like, well, what the fuck do I do now? I've got another flight to get. I don't know anyone that'll sell me any drugs here. And I'm like, oh, well, I'll just go home. And then I'm like, well, if I go home, I'm at 2 flights. So I'm stuck in this situation and I'm like, I'm gonna have to do something about this anxiety because I was suffering from it a lot, mate. It was bad. I've had to get out of a taxi because I've had a panic attack in a taxi. I couldn't go to a public toilet. I couldn't go because I'd get panicky. And I just read something. I can't even remember where I read about it, but obviously it was something to do with Wim Hof probably, is that when you're anxious, when you're having a panic attack, your breathing goes, and your breathing's really shallow. And actually that when you get in cold water, what's the first thing most people do? And then they start panicking and want to get out. So the reason that I first found cold water therapy was actually to master breathing. I don't do it for that reason now. I do it because it makes me feel great. And you look hard as fuck on Instagram. You're not joking. But you can, like, I did it for a very different reason because it taught me to master my breathing. I started with a cold shower, and then I bought the little plastic thing that was popular on Amazon, and then I realized actually it's not cold at all, except when it's January. It's not cold at all. And then I think I was the second person ever to buy brass monkeys.
You were the first person to purchase an ice bath from our website.
Off the website, aye. And you wouldn't believe, when I first bought it, I got loads of abuse. Because like, I've seen them things, they're so expensive. I'm like, well, listen, mate, I used to spend $1,000 a month on Coke. I used to spend $1,000 a month on the packet. And that didn't do me any good. I paid that and I've got it for life. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, people get, I remember dropping a video on TikTok and loads of people just gave me, you got more money than sense. I'm like, mate, I guarantee that every weekend you buy 3 for $100. You know what I mean? 3 for $100 on the packet, but no one questions how you spend your money. Just like, that's me for life, and it's better than, honestly, I was doing that in 10 months on a packet. So it's a very different, I suppose it's, people spend money on what they value, and I value being healthy and being well and all that stuff. The first time I got an ice bath, I've been doing the cold showers for a long time, and I got invited to a Wim Hof one-day event in Edinburgh. And the ice bath was a fucking paddling pool, right? Filled with ice. And I have this theory where if I'm scared of it, I like to get it done fast. If I'm scared of it, I'm going in balls deep. I'm scared, fuck it, I'll go first. So anything where there's like a group of people, like when I did my first stand-up gig, I was like, can I go first? Like, no, Paul, you're way too rude to go on before the after, like the watershed. Like, you need to go on last, they put me on last. But usually if I'm a bit worried about something, I'll go in first. So this Wim Hof thing, I was like, fuck it, I'll go in. And then the first 2 seconds, the train you on the breathing, obviously. So the first 2 seconds were hard. And then this, and I suppose everyone will say this, but this calm washes over you. And you're like, oh, it's not that bad. And then your brain sometimes goes somewhere else. That's actually a distraction technique that I use when I want to get out, actually. And then I got to the end of it and I didn't want to get out. Got 3 minutes in and it was the coldest I've been in so far, but I was like, oh, this is wicked. And then obviously at that kind of event, you've got people cheering you on. The first time I did it here, I just had my 2 kids and my wife looking at me like I was mental. It was mental, and it was so cold that there was a thick layer of ice. I had to break it with a hammer. But I don't think there's any feeling like it. And I'm glad you asked about the first time because it was so long ago. I'm kind of so used to it now that I'm just like, oh, this is what we do. But yeah, I'll remember that first time because I was like, shit, this is amazing. And again, that first time I had a huge sense of accomplishment. And then you get that, if you can carry that momentum with you into your day, like you just take that, well, what's the next thing I'm going to box off? I've done the hardest thing already. So I don't feel like that anymore. If you get the hard thing done first, you're like, well, I've done the hardest thing. The rest of the day is going to be easy.
Have you seen any changes in any people that you've introduced to cold water therapy?
Oh yeah, they all turn into fucking annoying, unbearable arseholes who act like they've discovered cold water. No, I believe a lot of them kind of get the same thing. They seem to become more resilient, I suppose. They seem to get a bit more belief and confidence. It's mad that a 2 minute thing, because I never really go above 2 minutes. I'm like, what's the fuck? I've got nothing to prove. 2 minutes is enough. And then I see guys, and they're all posting photos of themselves every day in our groups, and I just see guys get into a flow and they just seem to become more productive, more willing to take on and do hard things, more able to challenge themselves. And actually, I'd say confidence the biggest thing. It's like, and again, they must feel a sense of pride, and then they're in the day. Everyone's doing it in the morning. Come on. All right. Make sure you get the budgie smoke ready. Have done anyone who puts a rubber duck in theirs yet?
If you had somebody that was contemplating trying cold water therapy,
yeah,
but maybe a bit scared of it or whatever,
yeah,
what words of advice would you give?
I think, and I truly believe in this, I believe that it's easy for me to say just do it. That's what I think, that would be the cookie cutter approach. But I think that what I would say is, I think knowing the what to do, so the build up, what to do when you're in, how to breathe as soon as you get in, how to settle into it. I think if you know the what and the why, so why you're doing it, what the benefits are, what the upsides are. I think if you know the what and the why, the how is really easy. Like, you've had no training on the what and the why, you could get in and like, you have no idea how to breathe, you get out, you have no idea what to do after, no idea what to do before. I think that could actually be dangerous as fuck. and put you off it forever. But if you know the what and the why, it kind of adds value and meaning to the how you're doing it. And then like look into the benefits, like basically leverage yourself on it. Just getting in because other people are doing it, I think that would be enough to put you off. And also I'd say, don't listen to these people that there seems to be a new movement of people taking the piss out of people that do ice baths, which I find very strange. I'm like, mate, just admit you're too soft for an ice bath instead of taking the piss out of everyone that does them. There's legit, I'm like, just admit you're too soft, mate. I made a video the other week in fact it was last week, where I made a video where I was like, I was taking the piss out myself. Oh, meditation, that's for hippies. Oh, ice baths, you're not hard, you know. And I don't get it. So don't listen to those people that love to mock people. They mock people because they can't do the thing. So don't listen to them people, and I think get your head around the what and the why. It's because it's not just getting in the ice bath, really. There's a bit of prep required, there's a bit of understanding required, there's a bit of, people call it, sometimes you'll need motivation to get in. Motive is just what's in it for me. That's the benefits and the upsides. If you can't do ice baths every day, that's okay. I think that people panic when, well, I've missed a day, or I've missed another day, oh, fuck it. Because it is one of those things that people say you have to do it every day. But it's not realistic to do it every day. So if you can't do it every day, that's fine. If you can do it twice, it's better than none. If you can do it once, it's better than none. And you'll still get benefits from it. So I just think, I see that with a lot of habits. A habit doesn't have to be something that you do every day. So if you miss a day, don't give up. It's like giving up when you miss a couple of days is like, imagine getting a flat tire and then getting out the car, getting a crowbar and then smashing all the windows in. That's what people do when they can't do shit every day. So yeah, that would be a massive tip for me. I've just noticed that with some of my friends. They can't do it every day, so they just quit. If I did that, holy shit, I would have quit a long time ago. Sometimes it's not convenient. Sometimes in the morning when it's the school run, it's like, that needs military precision. It's chaos in the house in the morning, so it's not plausible for me to do it every day, so I don't. I would like to be known as the guy that inspires people to take back control of their life. I'd like to be known as the guy that inspires people to take responsibility for their feelings. I'd like to be known as the guy who inspires people to do what they said they would. Yeah. And just inspire through example, not by preaching, not by instructionals, but like, this is just what I do. I'm not trying to get you to do it. I don't want to preach about it. This is what I do. If you want energy like mine, you want to feel like me, you want productivity like mine, then success leaves clues.